Everybody, right? Welcome to today's learning journey. Today's learning journey is titled A Tale of Three Bridges. We will be using three bridges as our anchor point. Three bridges that run across the Singapore River to show you the differences that have developed, the history of the area, the uniqueness of some of these bridges and the areas that we will cover today. So we will start today here at Elgin Bridge. Okay, Elgin Bridge, and we will move outwards along the coast, along Parliament House. Then we will go past Empress Place, we will cross the bridge, we will cross Anderson Bridge and then return by Carveneer Bridge, and that will cover the three bridges, Fullerton, the stretch in front of us which is basically Boat Quay, and the other areas, and we will talk about some of the gentrification and how development of some of these key landmark areas over the years in Singapore's history. So starting at Elgin Bridge, right? Elgin Bridge, what you see here is the fourth iteration of Elgin Bridge. Okay, unique thing about it is it actually spans across North and South Bridge Road. So Elgin Bridge is the indicator of where North Bridge Road starts and where South Bridge Road ends. Right, this was open to traffic on 30th of May 1929. This is the fourth one, as I mentioned, and if you look straight ahead, you can actually see, interestingly, it's done with three arches, and the other highlight of Elgin Bridge is lastly a cement bridge, okay, made of concrete, and you do have six iron lampposts, okay, gas lampposts traditionally, and now they are actually no longer gas powered, they are electrical lampposts as well. But the overall lamppost has been maintained, has been repaired, and back to its full glory again. So Elgin Bridge is one of the bridges that people drive past a lot, but then they don't really notice or they don't take note that this is one of the key heritage sites along the Singapore River. What you see across is of course 7-Eleven, but 7-Eleven is about one of the few shops that have been taken over land use of these old shop houses. Okay, I would like to highlight a couple of things very important. If you look straight down, what you will see is that this area here, there is no steps, but you look across, you will see steps right in front of 7-Eleven, in front of the restaurants and the bars that occupy Boat Quay now. You do see steps. What are these steps actually used for then? If you look at the police cutter that's coming in front, right, you can imagine this was in the past a junk boat carrying goods and services, and not services, goods and things coming in. What would they do? They would need to dock where the trading firms were. They would need to offload it in the go downs, and that will be where they dock, and that will be where they actually drop the materials off. So this is very interesting. Why on this side you don't have this? You see it's a flat seawall, primarily because on this side of the coast what you have is basically you have Parliament House itself. Okay, Parliament House, which is as well as all the government facilities and services. So you will not be dropping the goods on this side, you'll be dropping the goods on the other side of the coast. Okay, like the police cutter you see is moving in, right? So with the steps, right, they can actually go very, very near to the area, put the ramp down and then get the things off. Right? So this is very useful. It's an infrastructure that has been left behind since the colonial days, where this Boat Quay area was used for a different purpose. Another interesting thing to talk about, you can keep your eye on Boat Quay as we walk down this path towards Raffles Landing site. Right, Boat Quay, you look at the buildings here, they are of a myriad of designs, largely because all these buildings were built by individual owners. With the Conservation Act kicking in, what the new owners of the buildings here could do was you could do anything you wanted to the inside of the buildings, but you could not touch the facade of Boat Quay. So what you end up seeing is the state of repair, the state of restoration, the quality of the restoration is all at varying degrees and varying standards, because this is not done at one go, and also in a roundabout way it lends a sense of uniqueness to each and every one of these buildings. Right, you do see certain designs repeating along the coast. It could probably mean that similar functions, similar designs to serve similar purposes back then. Okay, now across Boat Quay, the row of shop houses you see there, they serve largely either to be restaurants or bars or pubs. Okay, drinking holes, watering holes for not only tourists, but largely for this group. You see the cluster in front of us, our main civic district area, our main financial center. The thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of employees who work here, for them this is one of the main areas where they come post work for drinks, for dinner, and to wind down. So if you look carefully at the steps that we talked about, this is the only section, one of the few areas along the governmental side of the Singapore River that had some form of steps, because you do need to get across. Okay, so in the past, before you had all these 3 bridges, what the people need to do if you need to go to the other bank was you need to take a junk boat. Okay, the junk boat will be like a ferry. We get it from this side to the opposite bank. Okay, and right in front of us is UOB building. Okay, One Raffles Place and UOB building. Right in front of UOB building, this row of stairs extend all the way. Right, reason being this entire stretch, right, the entire stretch all the way to the point where we were at the Elgin Bridge. This was all meant for dropping off goods and other materials that came in from the junk boats out at sea. So this is the Raffles landing site, or what they largely believe to be near where Raffles might have possibly landed, because he did come in a relatively large boat. So we have erected a monument to mark the area, the general area that they believe Raffles possibly landed when he first arrived with his band of merry men. So the yellow building that you see up here, this is the Empress Place, former Empress Place. It's now known as the Asian Civilization Museum. Okay, it's occupied by the Asian Civilization Museum. Right, Empress Place is one of the more unique architectural buildings in this area here. Very beautiful, very colonial. Right, completed in 1867. It was originally planned to be used as a courthouse. However, it didn't really get used as that. It was used to house government officers until the late 1980s. Okay? With restoration, extension, the overall facade has stayed true to its original look and style. Okay, they have built certain things, like the restaurant area here is actually an annex that was built after the restoration. Okay, what is it now? It is actually a national monument, gazetted as a national monument in '92. So it has been occupied by the Asian Civilization Museum. Pretty nice museum with a very strong focus on Southeast Asian culture and history and heritage. So if you do have time, please come by, swing by, visit the Asian Civilization Museum and explore your Southeast Asian heritage. So we will slowly move along the bank of the Singapore River. Up front, you can see the words, the Pollutant Hotel. Pollutant Hotel is coming into view. Right, Pollutant Hotel is another one of the monuments that we may walk past later. Right, this walk here actually has a name. It's called Jubilee Walk. It's a trail that you can actually come on your own. Right, if the landmarks that are marked on the Jubilee Walk will be slightly different from what is highlighted to you today on our learning journey, but largely is the same area. So it's an interesting thing if you do want to venture here on your own, right, to come and take a look at the Singapore River area. You can follow the Jubilee Walk trail. Okay. Along this section here, you do also see what the Heritage Board has put up, okay, together with STB, right, a bust of famous leaders, Asian leaders. So up here you see Deng Xiaoping, right, and further ahead I think you do see one of Ho Chi Minh as well. So the bridge you see right in front of us is Cabinet Bridge. Cabinet Bridge is one of the oldest bridges in Singapore that join the governmental district, which is on the Empress Place side, to the business district on the other bank of the Singapore River. So with the building of Cabinet Bridge, what it did was it allowed people to walk across. Okay, you didn't have to take the bumboats anymore. But the flip side was this. This is a pedestrian bridge. So in a moment's time, I will show you the most famous thing at Cabinet Bridge. There's this sign that says no vehicular traffic, no bullock carts, nothing over 3 catties away. Okay, so as you can see, the design of Cabinet Bridge is very different from the design of Elgin Bridge. Elgin Bridge is largely a concrete bridge. This is not. This is an iron suspension bridge. So the design of it is very, very different. Arguably nicer, depending on what your taste is like. So here we are at the famous Cabinet Bridge police notice sign, okay, made out of wrought iron. Right, so you take a look at this. This actually tells you that vehicular traffic is prohibited. Okay, strictly prohibited. Okay, no cattle, no horses, right? Not that we bring our cows out anymore, but the design of this was largely for pedestrian purposes. Okay, so as we walk across Cavendish Bridge, we take a moment to think about how wide this actually is. Okay, make use of the 360 feature, scroll around, look upwards as we depart from the governmental sector of the Singapore River Civic District area and we move towards the financial hub. Okay, you can scan up and take a look at the skyscrapers. Right, the stark contrast between what you see in front and what you see behind us. Okay, the colonial buildings and what is modern Singapore. And even right in front of us, between the two sides of Cavendish Bridge, where you have our heritage, okay, Fullerton, and modernity, okay, our main CBD area with all the skyscrapers in it. Now right ahead is the final bridge that we are going to, is Anderson Bridge. So Anderson Bridge is the third bridge in our walk series. Before we go Anderson Bridge, as we exit Cavendish Bridge, you will see a matching sign on the other side of Cavendish Bridge for reminding everybody that this is a pedestrian bridge only. Okay. So this is the twin of the sign we saw earlier on the other end of Cavendish Bridge, right? And very importantly, this was actually meant purely for pedestrian traffic to get you from the government sector, where all the government offices were, so across to this side where you will make your way down to where the go downs are, where all the boats and the shops were along Boat Quay area. So now let's move on to the final bridge in our series, Anderson Bridge. Okay. On our way, right, what you see coming up right in front of us is one of the many statues that were created in the early 2000s. Okay, that were commissioned in the early 2000s by various artists depicting different scenes that were historically accurate of things that you will see along the Singapore River. So this particular one is called Our Generation. Okay, the first generation. Sorry. Right, so it's depicting a bunch of boys having fun jumping into the Singapore River to swim. Okay, although at this moment in time you are not allowed to jump in, it's against the law to do so. But this is probably what a typical scene on a day along the Singapore River will look like. If you look across the river, you will actually see a matching pair of statues, right? If depicting a different scene, and then there's another one at the end of Anderson Bridge, at the steps leading up towards Anderson Bridge as well. That one, if I remember correctly, is of a money changer. Okay, those couple of statues on the other side are currently out of bounds because they're doing some renovation works. So on my right here, you do see one of the restaurants in the Pollutant Hotel. Okay, Pollutant Hotel, a very beautiful place, right? So look at the Art Deco design of the area, the wonderful infrastructure, the building, how it has withstood the history of time, and its many functions over time. Okay, from the general post office until what you see now, largely world-class 5-star hotel. Yeah, I think it's 5-star, not 6-star yet. Okay. So Pollutant Hotel initially was built after Fort Fullerton was demolished. Okay, so originally it was a fort, and then they demolished it and they built this building here. Functions of it basically was the post office, and then it was the exchange building for until about 1922. Then that building was partially removed, and then the current building which you see was done in the mid-1928s. Okay, then it became the general post office, and also held some other governmental functions and services, namely like the Inland Revenue House. It was here for a period of time. So this is what it is now. It is now a hotel, very beautiful. The facade of it has largely been kept the same. Actually, interior wise, a lot of the overall structure is still more or less the same. So as we exit Fullerton Hotel site, you will see up front one of the most modern landmarks in Singapore, right? Marina Bay Sands, right ahead of us. And interestingly, this is actually where the road used to end and then the sea would begin. Okay, slightly after the expressway wouldn't have existed. All of the entire section over there, including the blue buildings you see on the right, the new Marina CBD area, right, where you have the SAIL and DBS and HSBC and all, those are all built on reclaimed land. That's the extent of our reclamation efforts in Singapore. Okay, so now final bit, let's make a left turn here and walk down Anderson Bridge. Okay, Anderson Bridge is a vehicular bridge. It was built as a support mechanism for Cavenagh Bridge. Okay, because remember we talked about this, Cavenagh Bridge was non-vehicular. You could not bring your cows across. But so what if your cows need to cross the river? Can't make them swim, can you? So what you would do is you bring them across Anderson Bridge. Okay, so Anderson Bridge here, if you look at it, the design and the structure looks once again very different. So this is the third bridge that we have walked across today. I'm not walking in the middle of the road actually. This part of Anderson Bridge is a sealed bridge. It is closed to pedestrian traffic. What you do see is until today, actually Anderson Bridge still serves the traffic system here in Singapore. Right, as you can see, there are vehicles that are crossing on the other side. So that part is still ahead of us. It's still your vehicular bridge itself. Okay. Other interesting things to note about Anderson Bridge, right? If you look around, look down, you will see that this bridge is you are now in the middle of the steel structure of the bridge, right? So you can pan around and take a look at the unique, interesting sights. Okay, something that you may not have the chance to do so even if you were here physically on the learning journey. Okay. Anderson Bridge is also one of the places that the F1 race, the night race, goes through. So the race will actually, the F1 cars will actually zoom past Anderson Bridge on its circuit. Right, so if you look up, you will see once again very beautiful, very ornate decorations. This is not typical of colonial Singapore. This is only typical of this area of Singapore, where you have the British and the governmental systems, where they wanted to mimic the splendor and the pomp of the British Empire. Okay, so this is why you have such innate decorations, such beautiful street lamps, and you look straight up ahead at the top of Anderson Bridge. Right, very beautiful infrastructure. Okay, Anderson Bridge. So Anderson Bridge is a steel bridge, right? Very stable, and it greatly helped the development of Singapore. So now we've actually completed our 3 bridges walk. Okay, and we covered the large parts of the Civic District. Today is but a taster. There is a large area that can be covered further within the governmental zone here, where you see Victoria Memorial Hall, you see Old Parliament House, which is now that is the 15-minute marker, 3:15. Okay, there's every 15 minutes there is a marker, and on the hour you get a longer bell. Right, so these are a lot more areas that we can actually explore, and if you were to move down, you will see in the distance actually Lim Bo Seng's memorial, okay, as well as the Central Park. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed yourself today with us. If there's time, it would be nice if you could go on and do the second video, which shows you what Boat Quay is like and how gentrified Boat Quay has actually become in the past years. Okay, so this is part 1. Right, hope you can go on and take a look at Boat Quay video and learn more about it. Okay, so main purpose for today is to give you an awareness and hopefully spur you on, so that you may want to come here on your own someday and do the rest of the trail on your own. Okay, so thank you for your company. Right, I'll see you in the next video.